Welcome to the Coppreneur Path Podcast.
Welcome to the show that is all about the path from cop to coppreneur. I'm your host, Adam Wills. With this podcast, I'm going to help equip you for your own post-law enforcement entrepreneurial journey with lessons learned from my experience growing a successful post-Leo business. You'll also get to hear from fellow coppreneurs and experts in business and marketing whose advice will give you an edge against the competition. You are in the right place, so let's get after it. Welcome, guys, to an episode of the Coppreneur Path podcast. I'm your host, Adam Wills. You might notice I have a guest with me this morning, so I want to introduce to you guys what I think is going to be the first of probably many podcast episodes on the Coppreneur Path podcast with Austin Molcyk here as my co-host. Austin works for me for both my marketing agency, StoryWeb Creative, as our customer success manager, and he is, I just made up a title for him, CAO, Chief Automation Officer at BreacherCRM. That is our business and marketing automation software specifically built for law enforcement instructor business owners by law enforcement instructors. And so, Austin, welcome to the show. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Morning, Adam. Thanks for having me up. And thank you for making up a fantastic title. I've never heard CAO before, and I don't think anybody else has either.
You're it, man.
Sounds spiffy. All right. So I just took a medical retirement from 8 years in law enforcement. I started off in the jail, eventually moved to patrol, made patrol sergeant, and picked up everything that I could along the way. I closed it out with 8 or 9 instructor certifications and spent some time in 2 different agencies doing FTO, both in the jail and on the road, and got into it thinking I want to go fast. I want to catch bad guys because I grew up with America's Most Wanted and World's Wildest Police videos, the good times, and found out along the way that I really love teaching and also love testing things. And one of the things that happened was I became the guy at my agency where new things and old things would go to be pretty well beat to death. When we first got MDTs, we needed to find out what the connection was like, how reliable they were. And even though I always said I'm not the tech guy, I was always known to go to the places where tech wasn't going to work. And ironically, even though I always told my command staff that I was closet Amish and I hated tech and I hated logins and I hated having an account for absolutely everything. It seemed like if you wanted to have breakfast, you had to log in. If you wanted lunch, that was a separate login. I had 13 apps on my home screen just to run a regular patrol shift. And so then this opportunity comes up with you and you're like, hey, do you want to be the tech guy? And I'm like, I'm not so sure about this. And we went through and we tested it, and Breacher has been a fantastic thing. There are no more apps except for, just one, but Breacher combines over 2,000 applications all in one place. It's super easy to use. It does everything that you need it to. It does some things that it wasn't supposed to. That I've kind of compared that using vice grips to hang up your clothes. It works and it does it well, but that's not originally what we even had in mind. And so this came up and we decided we're going to do something for law enforcement instructors by law enforcement instructors. And Breacher is here to take all of the pain away from teaching your classes and from setting up your classes and marketing and everything else that you need to do within your business just to get everything taken care of.
Yeah, and you're right. It's super easy, but it also, we just came out of our closed beta and are doing our public launch right now. And we've seen already with some of the first customers we had in our closed beta, it's easy, but it's overwhelming, right? Like there's just so much there, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. That's both the benefit and the challenge to it is we have made a way to take all of these pieces of software that you would normally have to cobble together and log into several different places, and brought it all under one roof. But then that, of course, means there's a lot going on, and there's a steep learning curve. But that's what Austin is here for. Austin is part of one of the things that we do whenever anybody signs up for BreacherCRM. You get a free 1-hour ops plan session, and we go through, or I should say Austin goes through, sits down with you and understands your business and what things you need to automate, helps you identify where some of those pinch points are in your business, in your processes, and what Breacher can automate for you to save you time so that you can work more on your business rather than being stuck in it and doing all of those things. So let's talk just a little bit, Austin. We've got, I don't know, maybe 10 more minutes left here to chat. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the things, the problems that our customers have been facing in their law enforcement instructor businesses that we've been able to solve, and plans that we continue to have to be able to solve some of these problems with our software. So where do you want to start, man?
Well, let's start at the beginning, the same way that you start in a class. One of the first pain points that I really focused on was I never ran my own business training law enforcement. I was just an agency instructor, but it was so frustrating to get everybody on the same page, sometimes even to get those pages in the same book, just to be able to set up a class. And then the day comes around, you get that class set up, everybody's schedules are all coming together. This is what you've been talking about for, sometimes maybe even a couple months out in advance. And then you show up to class and you have to keep records. And so nobody really shows up early because you got night shift guys who are dragging themselves in on 45 minutes of sleep. You got guys who just out of habit, have to go off and they have to go hit 7-Eleven and grab their Red Bulls first. You have guys that are getting called away, if you're in a smaller, busier agency. And so you lose the first half hour, 45 minutes of your class passing around that stupid paper sign-in sheet. Everybody loses the pen. Somebody forgets to put their phone number, their email address. Post gets mad later on because they didn't show up on the thing. The DA gets mad because now you weren't on day 2 of his legal updates because you came back from lunch and you forgot to sign in again. So first thing that we did is we got rid of that. So what we have now is QR code to sign in. QR's nothing really new, but with this one, you go through, you throw up a code on your screen or post it by the door, and you don't need a new code necessarily for every class. You can change it for whatever it's being. If you teach multiple things, you can have, let's say, an arrest control code. You can have a taser code. You can have a driving code. You could have a legal updates code, and it would just keep it consistent. So they show up, they scan the code, they sign in. You don't have to pass around a sheet. It's super easy to do. Nobody has to go dig the sheet out of the book later on. And then the best thing is it automatically puts everybody in to a list that you can export to whoever you need to. You need to send it to the DA because it's a legal updates class. Boom, it's done. You need to send it to post for compliance. Boom, it's done. You click 2 buttons, it's done. Then when it comes time to recert, you already have your smart list built up. Everybody that was in that class is all going to expire at the same time. You don't have to dig through your contacts list anymore. You don't have to dig through a binder and find out who was there and who's gone on to wherever. You have their contact information, drag, drop. It comes time to recert. They have the new email. So that was the first thing that we did to start saving everybody time and making class.
Yeah, and I got to give you the credit for that, Austin. That was largely your idea and your brainchild and how to make that all come together, which I think has become like one of the flagship features of BreacherCRM that everybody looks at and goes, oh, wait, you can do that? That's wicked cool, right? And I can tell you, just from my own perspective, having been an administrator, it's frustrating on both ends. It's frustrating for the instructor. It's also frustrating for the administrator because I would have to store all these stupid sign-in sheets that everybody filled out by hand and either scan them in to be a digital document, which still didn't really do what I needed to do. I couldn't use the data in any way, right? And so in order to be able to use the data, then I would have to have our secretary, put it all into an actual livable spreadsheet. And it was just a pain in the butt. But when you're talking about actually running a law enforcement instructor business, right? Like this is your livelihood. You're starting, growing, or scaling your law enforcement instructor business. Marketing is so important. And what this allows you to do now is not only take this sign-in list that used to just serve that single utilitarian purpose of, well, now I've got track of who signed in and who was present for the class, but now you can actually use that for your marketing purposes. So I've heard so many guys that are teaching classes, and they're like, oh, well, what I'm doing is, I pass around the sheet, and then I go and I sit down in front of Excel and I put all the email addresses in Excel, and then I have to import that into my email marketing software. And right. And what Austin's is saying is that, like, when using our software, when using BreacherCRM, when people sign into the class, they'll automatically be tagged with all the correct information about what class they attended. If you're doing something that has a certification, shout out to Jared Hardy, by the way, Team Hardy. We're working with him on right now, and I'm getting him all squared away with all this stuff as well. And he does a ground tactics course, instructor course, and his instructors need to recertify every 2 years. And so what we're working on putting together is a time clock that essentially tracks when somebody's gone through a course, then they will automatically get notified in a certain period of time prior to their expiration of their certification that, hey, it's time to recertify. Here's my upcoming classes, right? And so it's really cool. I mean, it just takes all of the manual process out of it. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to jump back to that real quick. Like you said, you can always digitize a record, but the problem with that then is that you're stuck with a JPEG or a PDF, not even really a workable PDF unless you put in a lot of effort on there. I'm currently in the process of moving. I'm on my 4th move now, and I'm still carrying around a milk crate of the OC certifications that I did from my very first class, because the time hasn't come up on them yet. Yeah. Can I digitize those? Yeah, I mean, I could, but then I've just got a flash drive full of everything. So with Breacher, you start digital. You keep everything there. Like Adam was saying, if you go through and let's say you're teaching a drug interdiction class, everybody that attends that class, everybody that's interested, or even that starts registration or visits your registration page and then abandons it, we can tag them with a drug interdiction tag. So now you know drug guys are also usually running in the same circles as canine guys. So if you have an upcoming canine class, or if you have something similar, or maybe you have electronic evidence and that's what you deal with. And if you've got one class on how to preserve it and then you have another class that would be similar, you don't have to go through and look at your contact list or flip through people's files. There's nothing more obnoxious than spilling somebody's file and having to put it all back together again. It's already there. You can just go through, you can type in, I want to see who attended canine. And from that canine class, we're going to target them for whatever else it is that's related to that. It's already there. It's already done. So you're not working inside your business. You're not being the paid employee that has to go through and filter on that. You're working on it. You get to grab everything you need and move it to the next phase so that you can scale so much easier. You get those same people coming back time after time. You get that recurring revenue locked in. And then the cool thing, we don't care if you teach physical classes, if you have a classroom setting, if you teach online classes and you do videos that, people, maybe they get an access code and they can log in and they can go through the course once, twice, however many times. Or maybe you've got something, leadership classes are really popular for this. You start off, you all meet together, and then you go through, you do however many days of class it is, you take some time off, you go back, you work on your group project, you come back for round 2, everybody gets together, sees what they learn. Maybe you've got something like that that's going to require you to meet later on, but something comes up with your venue. Just do an online class. We'll do a hybrid. If you have phase 1 that, doesn't necessarily need to be in person, maybe it's all classroom, do that online. Make it so that anybody can log in anytime. Set limits, they can go through it 5 times. They can go through it 1 time. Whatever it needs to be. And then the next time, if you've got a physical thing for a hands-on skill, something that has to be checked out, make it a hybrid. We can do that. We support that. And we've got all of that right there. So it really doesn't matter what format your class is in. We can help you with it.
And I'm glad you brought that up too. A lot of really good points there. From what I see, one of the biggest barriers to scale and growing a law enforcement instructor business that I've seen from working with our clients and customers is that it's this idea of I'm exchanging my time for money. You know, that's a common trap that we fall into in service-based businesses where everything is an exchange for time and money. And we've done some things in Breacher to help create an opportunity for recurring revenue for law enforcement instructors that doesn't tie you to that time for money hamster wheel, if you will. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that, Austin?
So one of the biggest things that I can think of right off the bat to help you get in there and start getting that locked in and to keep your existing customers happy is just the speed to lead that we've got. Anybody that comes in that sends a message, whether it's an email, whether it's a text message, whether it's web chat from the little widget embedded on your website, Breacher will notify you. You can have a separate phone number, email address, everything set up so that it's not blowing up your personal phone at all hours of the day. You can set your alarms, but anytime somebody hits that and messages you, bing, you get a notification. You jump in right there while they're interested, while they need whatever it is. So you don't have to go back and check 5 different inboxes 5 times a day and then find out at 7 p.m. that at 7 a.m. somebody sent you a message. Well, now it's 12 hours later, you know, they found something out, they got frustrated, they left, maybe they figured it out on their own and you got to keep them. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, and let me add to that real quick, Austin, because Austin's right. Like email, live chat, like we give you the live chat widget. It's part of our software that you put on your website, and it's not technically live chat, so to speak, because it's all based on SMS text. So I mean, you could answer live if you want to, but that's the beauty of it is you don't have to. And unlike the traditional live chat widgets out there, you don't lose the lead when they leave your website because you're not available. That's the beautiful thing about it. But also Facebook messaging, Instagram messaging, WhatsApp, those are all tied in with our software. So if anybody messages you in any of those platforms, and we're going to be adding LinkedIn soon as well. So yeah.
Yep. I forgot where we were. And then all of these, sorry, they free you up. Everything that you automate, it doesn't matter how simple it is, it frees you up. It gives you more time to go through to focus on your core customers, on getting new customers, on whatever it is that you need. And that's part of that ops plan. Whatever it is that you need to focus on first, or focus on most, that's what we're going to automate for you. That's what we're going to help so that you can focus more time on that one area by getting rid of all the background noise. You know, you don't need to go in and figure out how you're going to push all of your hands-on classes in the new age of COVID. I hate to bring it up, but it's everywhere. And I know that it's a pain. It's really hard to teach physical skills when, you know, nobody's supposed to be around each other. And trying to get over that is taking a lot of mental calories for you guys. Trying to figure out how you're going to get a venue that's big enough is taking a lot of mental calories. You don't need to be doing that. Let the robots take care of that for you, free up your time so that you can focus on what's important right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so to circle back a little bit to the discussion on recurring revenue that we started to go down to, one of the things that I want to point out to everybody, because online courses and online education as a whole has become huge in law enforcement world here in the last couple of years, especially. But it's a great opportunity. I mean, not all online learning is created equal, I have to say, and I'm not going to call out anybody here on the air, but I don't want anybody to have a bad taste in their mouth about online learning just because of, let's say maybe a course about, you know, how to deal with mean dogs jingling your keys and throwing your keys away at them. Anybody that knows what I'm talking about is probably laughing right now. But anyway, uh, so don't let those sort of bad experiences spoil your idea of what online learning can be and how you can leverage it in your law enforcement instructor business. And so there's opportunities here. One of the things built into our software is that you can create online courses and launch those within the platform, allow for people to actually sign up to access those. We have a fully gated system, where they can log in, kind of like if you're familiar at all with Thinkific or Udemy or any of those online learning platforms, same idea. They can come in, they can pay for your course. You can give the course away for free, use it as a lead generating opportunity. There's all kinds of different options there. But either way, you have that opportunity for that recurring revenue there. You can even use online courses to supplement your in-person training, right? So like you can go do a 2-day in-person training and say, all right, you know what, if you want to get even more advanced, sign up for this online portion here that's going to give you even more details. In addition to that is also live webinars. So you can do webinars from within the platform, and you can choose to do those for free or monetize those. You can also do simulated live webinars. I mean, anyway, guys, here's what I want to get at. So like, we're just really hitting the tip of the iceberg here in our conversation that has now gone on for 28 and a half minutes. We're really only hitting the tip of the iceberg of the things you can automate for your law enforcement instructor business inside Breacher. So we're going to come back and do some more of these. Go ahead, Austin. You have one thing?
Real quick, Adam. One other thing that I know has been very popular. I don't like to drop names out because I'm not going to do that. There is a very popular interview technique class that I'm sure everybody can already see where this is going, that they have a lot of books that they like to sell at the end. And that brings us back to the problem of you're still lugging around paper, especially for you guys who travel a lot. Unless you're going out and you're doing it in style, you got the Rockstar RV, you don't have space to fill your vehicle up with books. You don't have the weight. You don't need to be paying the gas mileage. You don't need any of that. You can go through and just throw something in. If you want to bring books with you, that's cool. If you run out of books and you're like, oh man, I'm so sorry. What is always there when they run out of books? That stupid paper sign-in sheet. So we'll go through, put another lead generator in at the end of your class. Hey, I also do this. Just throw it up on the board, throw it over on your sidebar, wherever it is that you normally put that kind of stuff. Put that right there. Hey, if you wanted a book and you didn't get it today, just go through and here's this QR code. And then same thing, the robots will take over. Everything will go through. We'll put it into the pipeline for you so that you know whenever you get back, or whoever it is that you have working back for you at wherever your office is, they need to get a book and get that done. And then the other cool thing, we already have a guy that is doing this. We're still putting some final tweaks on this thing. If you have friends, if you have affiliates, people that teach other classes, just see if you can borrow some real estate, put your code right there, your logo, have them give you a couple of minutes for a pitch, and then just use their class as another opportunity to generate those leads. All they have to do is visit your site and you get their contact information. You can hit them up later on with an automated campaign. You don't have to do anything just to try and nurture that, get some air into that spark, get it going, bring it up, give it life, put it into a fire and grow that little spark and just see what you can do to just gather as much as you can. It's super easy. It's all automated. You don't have to worry about it. And there's no reason that you shouldn't be taking advantage of it.
Yeah, agreed. So you might be asking yourself, all right, so what do I need to do to check out BreacherCRM and get a little bit more information, see what it's all about? Because like I said, we only touched the tip of the iceberg here. You can go to BreacherCRM.com. That's BreacherCRM. Breacher, like the first guy through the door. BreacherCRM.com. Go check out that. If you click on get a demo on there, you're going to end up on a booking calendar, also part of BreacherCRM, by the way, which you'll be able to book a call with Austin. He'll give you a demo. But the other thing I want to share with you guys, because you'll see the pricing on there, but you won't see a very special offer that we have available right now. on the main website, because the only way you can get that offer is if you participate in our launch giveaway. So if you go to BreacherCRM.com/launch, you can do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to send you a thumb drive. It's really cool. It's like this tactical black. It's actually a piece of metal. It's a metal key. I've got one right here. We're going to send you this thumb drive, and on that are instructions on how to participate in a virtual scavenger hunt, which is really it's actually fun to do. Everybody that's completed it so far has said, hey, that was a lot of fun. And what it does is it actually shows off some of the features of the software. But once you unlock, you'll get a passcode as you complete that scavenger hunt that'll unlock a portal, and you can get in there. And not only are you going to get our special offer, but you're also going to get a bunch of free stuff. So we're going to give away, we are giving away, it's already in there. There's a bunch of online courses, swipe files for lead generators and landing pages and all kinds of stuff just that you can have for free, whether you actually sign up for Breacher or not. But part of that, if you complete the scavenger hunt, you're going to get the Bearcat package, which is the biggest package we have, the highest tier of our software. You're going to get Bearcat for even less than the price of Halligan, which is our lowest package. And so go check that out, BreacherCRM.com/launch, and we'll go ahead and send you one of those thumb drives. You don't even have to pay shipping. We'll cover that for you. The other thing I just want to close with here real quick, I'm excited to announce as part of this that we are officially corporate sponsors of ILEADA and their conference coming up, the 2022 ILEADA conference and exhibit in March in St. Louis. We're a corporate sponsor there. We're also a corporate sponsor of the ILET network. So you can check out either one of those. We support very much what they're doing in both of those organizations. And so go check them out. All right, Austin, thanks for coming on. And we're going to do this some more.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
See you guys. Hey, thanks for sticking around till the end of the show. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review at leotoceo.com/podcast-review or in your preferred podcast listening app. I would love to hear your feedback, and it will also help other copreneurs like yourself find the show. Be sure to check out the show notes for this episode. Just go to leotoceo.com, click on podcast, and search this episode number, and you'll find all the links, descriptions, and resources we talked about. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you'll be notified when the next episode is live. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.